So where is the Me Too movement now, and where does it go from here? Dr. Jocelyn Lehrer is the founder and director of the Men's Story Project. She joins us from Washington, D.C. And Dr. Lehrer, first of all, your reaction to the news that it looks like Brett Kavanaugh is going to be confirmed to the U.S. Supreme Court, despite all the accusations against him.
Yeah, well, I think it's a hard day for everyone who cares about these issues, who feels a sense of allyship or kindredness with sexual assault survivors. But this is in no way the end of the Me Too movement. The Me Too movement is alive and well and will continue forward.
And is that movement bigger than any one Supreme Court justice? In other words, even if this is a bad day for people involved in the movement, is there a sense that perhaps the dam has broken to a certain extent in terms of women being empowered to come forward and talk about what has happened to them?
Yeah, women and survivors of all genders. I think that that's exactly the metaphor I was going to use, in fact. I think that this dam has been broken with this movement, and it cannot be put back together, and it shouldn't be. And I think that what we've seen with this process of these weeks leading up to this moment is that there is a lot of interest from an increasing number of people in the world, in what survivors have to say. And so even though it looks like we're not going to be prevailing with regard to this particular appointment, the movement itself is certainly a sea change that's happening.
The movement itself has received some sharp criticism from Donald Trump and also from some of the Republicans on the Senate Judiciary Committee. How do you view that criticism?
Yeah. Look, Donald Trump made the fairly ridiculous statement, in my opinion, yesterday or 2 days ago, that this is a very scary time for young men in America. And I think it needs to be made very clear that there is no epidemic of people being falsely accused of sexual assault. The epidemics that are real, that are at hand, are of sexual harassment and sexual assault. 1 in 6 women and 1 in 33 men will experience rape or attempted rape in their lifetime in the United States. The rates of false accusation are estimated to be between 2 and 10%. And so the likelihood that any given man is going to be falsely accused of sexual assault is incredibly low. Our president has been accused by at least 22 women of groping, sexual harassment, and rape. So the likelihood that all of those allegations are false is low, and so therefore he would like for us to believe that there's an epidemic of false accusation, but that's simply not the case.
Is there a divide, though, a growing divide in our country, given the support that Donald Trump has, particularly, say, in the heartland of the United States, as opposed to the coast, that if you're in New York or California or Washington State or Oregon or Virginia, or maybe even Florida, you're more likely perhaps now to be believed if you step forward with accusations of sexual assault, whereas in other perhaps more rural areas of the country, which are more of Donald Trump's support, that it's a more difficult challenge for women to step forward in those areas?
I couldn't tell you off the top of my head the prevalence of what people's experiences are, the differential prevalence of sexual assault in these different parts of the country. But what I can tell you is that sexual assault happens to people regardless of what party they're party to, that they favor. It really should be a nonpartisan issue. It's something that affects women and men. It affects people of all leanings. And so my hope is that moving forward, we can build increasingly bipartisan coalitions to address this problem that really affects everyone.
It was striking today to hear
Senator. And it is true that...
Go ahead, finish your thought.
Go ahead. Oh, I was just going to say, I think it is true that, part of the work of this movement is to help people feel more at ease in coming forward. And the silences have been maintained for so long, and so this really it's a difficult thing for people to come forward and to share their experiences. And it's wonderful that it's happening more and more. So I hope that it can reach the places that are possibly more conservative, or where those silences have been all the more entrenched.
And for people, real quickly, who are the victims of sexual assault, what should they do in terms of how do they report it, who do they tell, what's the steps to them?
Well, I suggest calling the National Sexual Assault Hotline. There's RAINN, R-A-I-N-N. The calls to that hotline increased dramatically. I think they had their highest day of reporting the day that Dr. Blasey Ford shared her testimony and in the days following. So that's definitely one clear step they can take to share their experience and get guidance on how to proceed in their area. There's reporting to the police. There's sharing it with family and friends if they want to. So people can be counseled on what their options are to move forward.
Dr. Jocelyn Lehrer, she's the founder and director of the Men's Story. And Dr. Lehrer, thanks so much for joining us. We appreciate it.
It's my pleasure. Thank you.